Good afternoon. On this final week of school for many students, Ontario's education minister has launched a new province-wide digital learning platform.
It's set to be used in Ontario classrooms starting this fall. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris joins us live now with more details on this. Siobhan.
Well, it's called Edwin, and it's made by Nelson Education. That's the publisher behind a lot of the textbooks you probably used when you were still in school. The idea is to give kids, teachers, and their parents more tools to help in the learning process. The Toronto Catholic Board is already using it right across their system. Some TDSB schools are as well, though it's a little bit more uneven. Today, the province announced they're putting up $60 million to buy licenses to take this program across Ontario. How it works is it is this online portal that includes some ready-made lessons that teachers can guide their students through. Today we were in a grade 7 classroom where we saw a teacher use this to talk about pie charts. Moms and dads can also peek in on what their kids are doing during the school day. This will be in place for the upcoming school year in September. The Minister of Education, though, says he needs a bit more time to implement other changes around cell phones. He's been talking the last few months about maybe restricting them at school. Last week, Paul Calandra toured schools in Quebec where there is a rule like this in place, and he was impressed.
Walking through that school, both of those schools, at the elementary and then ultimately the secondary school, the moment you walk in, you can feel it was a different environment entirely. You could just feel a different environment. We went into the cafeteria, kids were talking with each other, there's no cell phones anywhere. Kids were talking with each other, they were playing cards, and as you walked through the hallways to tour the school, the same thing, right? There was nobody on phones, very engaged. You looked out into the yard, kids were playing again.
We learned a bit more today about how high school students will be evaluated and earn their final grades come September. Remember, the government has talked about bringing back mandatory exams. In core subjects like math, science, and English, students will be about 20 to 25% of their grades will be determined by that exam. It depends on their grade. Attendance is also a piece of this, only at the high school level, though the minister left the door open today to extending it to the elementary level some point down the road. Reporting live, I'm Siobhan Morris. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Siobhan. A 25-year-old woman is the third person arrested in connection with a murder earlier this month. 32-year-old Erik Safar died after he was assaulted and struck by a vehicle on June 14th in the area of Keele Street and Wilson Ave. Two men were previously arrested in connection with his death. Now, 25-year-old Dzsenifer Olah surrendered to police on Sunday. She is charged with second-degree murder in connection with Safar's killing.
Peel police have released more details about the man arrested after shots were fired at an officer near Pearson Airport yesterday. 24-year-old Isaiah Batchy was arrested after allegedly firing multiple shots at an officer. Police were carrying out an investigation near Torbram Road and Lucknow Drive at the time. The officer was not injured, while Batchy was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Two other officers also suffered minor injuries. Batchy is now facing multiple gun-related charges. He was already subject to multiple firearm bans related to convictions in Thunder Bay in 2023.
A woman has been arrested in connection with a stabbing in North York. Police called to a home in the area of Jane and Shepherd just after 11:30 last night. They found a man suffering serious but non-life-threatening injuries. He was taken to hospital while a woman was arrested at the scene. This incident remains under investigation. And a teenage boy has been injured in a stabbing in East York. Police were called to the area of Goodwood Park Crescent and Dawes Road near Victoria Park and Danforth just before 10:30 last night. They found the victim suffering from stab wounds. He was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Two suspects were spotted leaving the scene and were arrested nearby.
And police are searching for a suspect after a child was sexually assaulted inside an East End grocery store. Investigators released these images of the suspect. He's wanted in connection with the incident at a store near Victoria Park in St. Clair last night. Police say the child was walking with her parents around 7 p.m. when she was sexually assaulted. The suspect's believed to be in his 30s. Police are asking anyone with information to contact them. Still to come, the annual rate of inflation rose to 3.2% in May, pushed higher by gas prices. We'll have more on what that means for the Canadian economy a little later in the newscast.
Heritage Toronto has installed a new plaque commemorating the 1981 Bathhouse raids. The mayor was on hand for the unveiling in Yonge and Wellesley this morning. The raid saw hundreds of people detained in Toronto's largest ever mass arrest. It prompted a movement by the city's LGBTQ2S+ community and its allies to demand justice and equality.
I remember that day after the raid, the public outcry, the devastation, the anger, the friends coming together in panic and fear, but in determination saying, we must do something. And what came next changed the face of Toronto. It changed Toronto forever.
The coordinated police raids, dubbed Operation Soap, targeted 4 gay bathhouses across the city. 250 patrons and workers were arrested and charged, leading to many being outed in the media, which cost them their jobs and, in some cases, housing. Thousands of people protested the raids, and the response led to Toronto's first Pride Day, which was held later that same year.
Toronto community groups who have been buying properties across the city as part of an effort to keep rents low say the upcoming election could determine whether they're able to buy thousands more units. Community Land Trust says the October election marks an opportunity to secure and potentially increase funding for their program. It aims to buy at-risk rental buildings and keep them affordable. The acquisition program began in 2022 with $10 million in funding and has since grown to $100 million. The trusts are now calling on the city to double that number, saying it would let them preserve 4,000 units over 4 years.
There are no World Cup matches being played in Canada today as the tournament rolls on.
Meanwhile, history was made last night with Cabo Verde securing another major upset.
Pina blasts it. Oh, they've scored! Sensational from Cabo Verde! Their first ever goal at the World Cup finals.
After playing Spain to a scoreless draw in its first match, the tiny African nation scored twice against Uruguay to secure a 2-2 draw. The country has now earned 2 points through its first 2 matches, giving it a chance to qualify for the knockout rounds when it takes on Saudi Arabia in its final group game on Friday.
And here is Salah cutting in from that right wing. Plays the 1-2, gets it back, and Mo Salah scores for Egypt.
Meanwhile, Egypt won their first ever World Cup match yesterday. The country coming from behind to beat New Zealand 3-1 at BC Place in Vancouver. They now sit atop Group G after Belgium and Iran played to a scoreless draw.
Meanwhile, there are 4 more World Cup matches today. Lionel Messi in Argentina will begin the day by taking on Austria in Dallas. Later this afternoon, France will play Iraq in Philadelphia, while Norway takes on Senegal in New Jersey. The late kickoff will see Jordan and Algeria square off in Santa Clara, California. You can catch all the action on TSN.
Yes, it was a fabulous weekend of World Cup action and weather here in the city and around the GTA. We take a live look now at Nathan Phillips Square. It's been buzzing during the World Cup, but the folks down there and anybody outside today will probably notice it's a tad fresher and feeling like we've got unsettled weather on the way, Jess.
We had that rain go through early on this morning. The good news is if you're heading out to any of the later watch parties, you're probably going to stay dry, but it's not as warm as you're used to, right? We've had a really beautiful stretch of days over the weekend. Fantastic weather. A little dicey early on today, but the bulk of that system thankfully tracking its way south and east as we head throughout the afternoon with a fairly light wind. Behind a little bit cooler air, so we will be a little shy seasonal, but I'll take it nonetheless. We're at 16 right now through Hamilton, 19 in Windsor, 17 in Niagara. We've got watch parties everywhere across Ontario, so no matter where you are, you can probably catch one of the games. Temperature-wise, we're at 17 through the islands right now. Still some cloud cover holding on, but into the afternoon, we're settling at 21. Lots of sunshine out there, so comfortable to get out and watch a lot of these games. But you're still going to have to think about sun protection. No, it's not as hot as it was over the weekend, but still quite comfortable. Coming up, a full look at your long-range forecast, what we can expect as we head into more FIFA coverage. But right now, I'll send things back over to Nathan and Michelle.
Thank you, Jess. The federal government's Bail and Sentencing Reform Act became law last week.
Bill C-14 is set to take effect next month and includes provisions meant to make it more difficult to get bail for a variety of crimes. Federal officials were in Brampton this morning discussing the recent passage of this bill, and our Rahim Ladani was there and joins us live now with some of the details. Rahim.
Hi, Michelle. This is a significant change to how individuals who are accused of crimes are granted bail and also how those who are convicted of crimes are sentenced right across Canada, not just here in Ontario. 80 changes made to the Criminal Code of Canada, which the federal government says will make it more difficult for people to be granted bail and tougher sentences for repeat and violent offenders. We've seen over recent years a lot of cases where a person accused of committing a crime was out on bail for another alleged offense. Bill C-14, which is now law, aims to address that. One of the biggest pieces of this law is new rules when it comes to reverse onus. So reverse onus means some accused individuals will now have to convince a judge why they should be released instead of prosecutors arguing why they should remain in custody. This change is going to focus largely on repeat and violent offenders, organized crime, and violent extortion. In crafting this legislation, the federal government has specifically highlighted crimes of violent auto theft, break-and enters, extortion, and arson. And this law expands the use of consecutive sentences, meaning repeat offenders involved in organized crime groups could face more time behind bars. Here's more from Minister Fraser.
This is a direct response to the concerns that we heard from communities across this country who said that they wanted to see more action when it came to home invasions, when it came to auto theft, when it came to violent extortion that they're witnessing in their communities, when they see sexual assaults, when they see episodes of drug trafficking or human trafficking. It needs to stop. And people demand that the government take it seriously, not only in the words that we express at microphones, but in the laws that we adopt in our legislatures.
Now, some civil liberties groups have raised some concerns, saying this is going to eat into our fundamental right that you're innocent until proven guilty. Another concern is we know it's well documented that Ontario remand centres are overcrowded. I asked the Attorney General that just a couple minutes ago inside Brampton City Hall behind us. He said they anticipated this problem, and that's why they've opened some old facilities as well. But ensuring the safety of these individuals who are innocent before proven guilty still remains a very real concern. Reporting live, I'm Rahim Ladani. Nathan and Michelle, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Rahim. Unifor has begun negotiations with the Detroit 3 automakers Ford, Stellantis, and General Motors.
The talks come as current collective agreements with the companies are set to expire September 20th. CP24's Beatrice Vaisman has been following the talks and joins us live now with more. Beatrice.
Nathan, Michelle, good afternoon. Lana Payne, the head of Unifor National, says these are the most consequential negotiations this union has ever had. There's a lot of uncertainty for the 19,000 members of Unifor National who work in the auto sector, and a lot of it has to do with the current climate when it comes to the auto sector. First, of course, you've got the introduction of Chinese electric vehicles into this country. Secondly, you've got the CUSMA deal, the Canada-US-Mexico trade deal up in the air. And then, of course, you've got the big wild card. His name is U.S. President Donald Trump. And there's been some significant challenges for those who work in the auto sector since trade tariffs were introduced more than a year ago now by the U.S. president. And so these are the first of the talks that Unifor is holding with the three big automakers down in Detroit. Unifor typically goes into pattern bargaining with the auto sector negotiations. And as for why starting with Ford, I mean, we heard from Unifor President Lana Payne, there's some strategic reasons starting with Ford. Actually, in a message to the national members earlier this month, she said that while the auto industry keeps shifting and changing around us, Ford is maintaining its footprint in Canada, including the Windsor engine plant, the Essex engine plant, and the retooling of the Oakville assembly plant, saying this matters. And it also matters that Unifor and Ford have a long history of bargaining that has delivered positive gains for auto workers. Lana Payne going on to tell members that she's approaching these contract negotiations with determination, but also with realism, acknowledging the stakes are incredibly high and a disciplined strategic approach is needed to be successful in these negotiations. Around 11 o'clock this morning, we saw Lana Payne shaking hands with the head of the Ford negotiating committee. And so they're in a room now, sequestered, having their first hour of conversations. Nathan and Michelle, at 1 o'clock, we'll hear from Lana Payne from Unifor. And of course, we'll have that for our viewers as well.
All right, we'll get details later. Thanks so much, CB24's Beatrice Vaisman. In Saskatchewan, 2 RCMP officers are in hospital after being seriously wounded in a shooting. It happened just after 9:30 last night in Melville, which is about 150 kilometers northeast of Regina. Police were called to a report of an assault at a home. A gun was fired as officers arrived, and 2 of them were hit. Reinforcements were deployed at around 2 in the morning. The suspect and another person came out of the home. The suspect was arrested and the other person detained, but cleared of any involvement. Several members of the Prime Minister's cabinet are in Tokyo, joining a record number of Canadian executives on a trade mission.
CTV's Judy Trin gives us a look at the massive Team Canada approach.
In the land of the rising sun, a Team Canada trade mission is attracting 175 Canadian companies to Tokyo, all eager to expand into the Japanese market. Helping to pave the way, Industry Minister Melanie Joly, Defense Minister David McGuinty, and Meninder Sidhu, the minister responsible for international trade.
But real opportunities in energy, in critical minerals, in defense, in artificial intelligence. So there's a complementary nature to our relationship.
Japan is the 3rd largest investor in Canada. There was more than $35 billion of goods traded between the 2 nations last year. But Mark Carney's embrace of China, Japan's biggest regional competitor, is clouding the outlook. In particular, the decision to remove nearly all tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles in exchange for the lowering of Chinese tariffs on canola and seafood. Once the deal expires at the end of the year, there's concern from some analysts. China will demand more access for EVs and other goods at the expense of Japan.
It is a trusted partner. It is a G7 member. It is a fellow democracy with whom we have important strategic relationship. And we cannot jeopardize that relationship because we're trying to pursue diversification with China, a partner that has consistently shown itself to be unreliable, to use coercion against us and other democracies.
Over the next few days, Ministers Joly and Sidhu will meet with government officials and stakeholders at Toyota and Honda to discuss their concerns, while Minister McGuinty will pitch how Canadian technology can help keep Japan safe. Judy Trin, CTV News.
Canada's inflation rate saw a significant increase, rising to 3.2%. Statistics Canada says the Consumer Price Index increased to 3.2% year over year in May. That's up from 2.8% the previous month. Rising gas prices created by global uncertainty around the war in the Middle East continues to drive inflation. However, when gas was removed from the calculation, the Consumer Price Index still rose at a faster pace year over year in May, coming in at 2.2%. compared to 2% in April. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver has been looking at the numbers and joins us live now from Ottawa. Annie, what more can you tell us about this data, and what does it tell us about the current situation in Canada?
Hi, Michelle. Well, essentially what the new data is telling us is that things are getting more expensive for Canadians, that inflation is going up. Now, Stats Canada does attribute, as you point out, this increase at 3.2% inflation in May to gasoline prices. Year over year, gas prices are up 33%. Overall transportation costs, again, because of higher energy, up 18.5%. So that means that, most Canadians who are going out to fill up their car, or businesses who rely on vehicles and transportation, they are seeing higher costs. A lot of this is because of the war in Iran and because the Strait of Hormuz has been open and closed for so long. There's so much tanker traffic that has really backed up, and energy prices are higher. The cost of jet fuel is higher as well. So Stats Canada is saying that there's a higher cost for airline transportation as well as tour groups. So traveling is more expensive. Even if you look at some prices of fresh food, for example, that's gone up. The cost of fresh fruit is up 5.3%, fresh vegetables 9%, and food in general is up 3.8%. So we are seeing things get more expensive for Canadians. Although, as you point out, even if you do remove gasoline, inflation is still up to 2.2% over the 2% that it was in April. So it does show that things are getting more expensive. But again, Stats Canada attributes most of this increase to the fact that energy prices have gone up so much since the war began, Michelle.
And I would imagine a lot of people hearing these numbers don't even need the numbers to tell them things are more expensive. They can tell every time they're at the checkout. Meanwhile, what are economists saying about the spike in inflation?
Well, economists are saying that this is really all about gas prices and energy prices, which again have been really high. Although they do point out that we have seen a reduction in energy prices since their peak several months ago. If you look today, crude oil, for example, is down. Jet fuel is also down. And with this new MOU that was signed, economists are saying perhaps there is some, relief inside in the future if the Strait of Hormuz is able to open and stay open and tanker traffic is able to resume, that these energy prices will fall. Here's what one economist had to say about the new numbers today.
It's essentially a gasoline story, as we all know. We're all feeling it if we're tanking up at the pump these days. But it's not yet in the underlying numbers. So when we look at inflation numbers excluding gasoline, it's running a little hotter, 2.2%, but well within the Bank Canada's margins.
And so this really does come down to the Bank of Canada. They're trying to keep inflation around that 2% mark. And as you heard Pedro Antunes, that economist, just say, is that when you strip out gasoline, it is still increasing inflation, but it's still around 2.2%. And the measures of core inflation, which is inflation when you take out anything that's super volatile, so for example, gasoline is removed in food, those metrics have remained relatively stable. So far, what the Bank of Canada has said is they don't see these high energy prices infiltrating into every single sector of the economy. So they don't see that the price increase is persistent and that it's going to be, across all sectors. They have another rate decision next month, and that's also when we can expect to get some more information from the Bank of Canada about where it sees inflation going over the near term and whether or not the bank wants to do anything about inflation. But again, economists saying this right now really is driven by gasoline. They're saying we are seeing some relief in energy prices that have come down since their peak. The question now is, does inflation remain high and continue to increase, or will it start to see some signs of decreasing if gasoline prices and other energy prices continue to come down, Michelle?
CTV's Dzsenifer Olah. Ottawa, we appreciate the context. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, speaking in BC this morning, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre blamed the policies of the Carney government for Canada's economic situation.
It's time for Mark Carney to stop making excuses for the fact that he has created the only recession in the G7, the only food price inflation that is this high in the G7. If it were really global factors, then why is it that no other G7 country is in recession? No other G7 country is paying the food inflation that Canadians are forced to pay. The answer is that the Carney Liberals continue inflationary policies that drive up costs here at home. We need to reverse those policies and make Canada affordable.
The Conservatives recommend, among other things, opening up real competition so grocers have to fight for customers by driving prices down, getting rid of the industrial carbon tax that raises the cost of farming and food processing, and unblocking Canada's resources.
The Prime Minister welcomed his Croatian counterpart to Ottawa this morning. And with Croatia's World Cup team playing in Toronto tomorrow, the talk quickly turned to soccer.
I'd like to congratulate you for 2 first victories. You seem to be really a host country with a lot of stamina. I hope that your player, which was injured, will recover well. And we look forward for a great match tomorrow in Toronto between Croatia and Panama.
The fans are certainly excited. They'll be well received.
The two leaders exchanged jerseys of their respective countries following their introductory comments for the cameras. Croatia takes on Panama tomorrow night starting at 7. The two men are sitting down for talks that will include a range of bilateral issues. Turning to the war in the Middle East, mediators in talks between the U.S. and Iran say they've seen encouraging progress. Today, the U.S. Vice President said Iran has agreed to invite international nuclear inspectors back into the country.
That is a major milestone for the American people and the first step in permanently denuclearizing or permanently ending a nuclear weapons program in Iran. And that's exactly what we wanted to do. That's exactly what we asked to happen. We made a lot of great progress on other nuclear talks.
Iran's prime minister says sanctions on his country's oil have been waived, and some of its frozen assets were released. In a joint statement, Qatar and Pakistan say a high-level committee has agreed to a roadmap for reaching a final deal in 60 days.
Keir Starmer has announced he will be stepping down as leader of the UK's Labour Party, meaning the country will soon have its 7th prime minister in just over a decade.
the question my party is asking now is whether I am best placed to lead us into the next general election. I have heard the answer of my parliamentary party to that question, and I accept that answer with good grace.
Starmer says he will remain as a caretaker prime minister until the Labour Party chooses its next leader. He won a significant majority in 2024, but his popularity has been hurt by a series of missteps and an inability to bring on promised economic change.
Former Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham, who won a special parliamentary election last week, is considered the front-runner to replace Starmer.
I made my statement, obviously praising the Prime Minister's dedication, service, and confirmed that I will put myself forward in the process that will soon be underway.
Burnham's the first Labour minister, or Labour Party member, make that, to declare for the leadership. Nominations will officially open July 9th and will close when Parliament breaks for the summer. Whoever is named Labour leader will immediately assume the title of Prime Minister. Toronto's newest convenience store is getting lots of attention despite an inconvenient location. This is Global Convenience, a floating pop-up art installation steps away from the Jack Layton Ferry Terminal. Complete with fully stocked shelves, flowers, and even an ice machine, the art piece was built for the World Cup. Its designers say, just like soccer, convenience stores bring the world together.
I've never seen anything like it. It's insane.
If you're going to go out and try to buy something in there, how would you go about it?
I wouldn't exactly swim in this harbor. I'd find a boat or something.
The convenience store will be floating in Lake Ontario until October.
Well, a beautiful day outside. If you're hitting up a patio for a watch party, there are plenty as we head throughout your Monday, so the forecast very agreeable. Lots of sunshine heading into the afternoon, a little bit cooler than that seasonal point of 25, but I'll take it a fairly moderate southeasterly wind. And for the game in Dallas, much hotter, much more humid, but you know what? It doesn't matter because you don't feel the temperature when you're cheering for your favorite team. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast, including what we can expect as we head throughout a very busy week ahead. All those details after the break.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
The Toronto Marlies are still basking in the glow of their recent Calder Cup victory.
A championship rally was held at Real Sports this morning in support of the top team in the AHL. CTV's Sean Leathong joins us live now with more on the celebrations. Congratulations to the Marlies bringing home the Calder Cup.
Well, you can see right behind me, the Calder Cup is actually on display, Michelle, and what a celebration it was. The confetti, the champagne has all been popped here at Real Sports in Toronto, celebrating the American Hockey League Toronto Marlies, the AHL affiliate of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And it's an interesting celebration because for a time, the Marlies are often overshadowed by the Toronto Maple Leafs, but this spring they were able to capture the Calder Cup, win the championship without actually having to be overshadowed by the Leafs themselves. And the Marlies were a team that were something of destiny. They finished 15th in the American Hockey League in the regular season, but managed to march all the way to the championship, a bit of inspiration for their National Hockey League counterpart. And we heard during the celebration from John Gruden, the head coach, and general manager Ryan Hardy. Here's what they had to say.
When we were in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, the weather's starting to get nice. We were in the Residence Inn, I believe. Was it the Residence Inn? And these are things you can't fake, or you can only see it and witness it. But as a coach, I think we stayed late, me, Dicker, and Gio, and we were walking down the hill. We come down, and there's 30 guys cooking on the grill, their shirts, their tarps off, as I should say. And when we saw that, I'm like, wow, this is a special group. We're going to win this thing.
I want to thank all the fans. This has been, it's been an interesting few years, the relationship between the hockey teams and the town. But I know these men in the Marlies and in the Leafs, and they love playing here. They love the fans. They love representing this city, and they want nothing more than to deliver championships for all of you.
And they certainly did deliver that championship. So Toronto has a professional hockey team that won the championship this year. It sounds strange given what happened for the Leafs this past season, but now looking forward, this seems to provide a bit of a recipe for how a championship is won. You heard the coach and the general manager talking about the team coming together and how the fans came out for this team as well throughout the spring. So they're celebrating today, and then we look forward to next season with the NHL draft coming this Friday. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leathong. Nathan and Michelle, send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Sean. I remember when they won the Cup the last time, I think it was 2019, the Marlies. Great team and a great organization. So, yes, Toronto can win.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
I'm loving this. Calder Cup, World Cup. What a fun time in the city.
So many cups. My soul cup is filled. Yeah. I'm getting very sentimental. But no, it's a beautiful day outside. I mean, a little rough to get things started. We saw rain early on this morning. A lot of that has moved out just in time. I feel like the weather knows we want to be outside for all these watch parties. And this afternoon, not as warm as maybe people would like it, but still comfortable. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm. Injury lawyers, you don't pay unless they win. Still a little cloudy out there, but overall really comfortable to spend some time outside. A nice view of the CN Tower. We're holding on to a decent amount of warmth today and a more southerly flow to the wind, so not as hot as it was as we wrapped up our weekend on Sunday with lots of sunshine out there, but we will get to a really comfortable point. We're holding on right now at about 18 degrees here in the city of Toronto, 16 through Trenton, 21 in Ottawa, 21 in Muskoka, so we're right there. We won't see too much in the way of an increase across southern Ontario, but still nice to spend time outside, whether you're going to a watch party or just enjoying your day. As we head into the afternoon, we'll sit at 21. We should be at 25. Everybody just shy of that seasonal point. After that rain rolled through, a little cool, but heading into the day tomorrow, we rebound very nicely, and that holds on for Tuesday and Wednesday, two very big days. As we head in towards this evening, a little shy of that seasonal point once again, but still at a very comfortable spot as we head through the overnight hours and into the start of the day tomorrow. There is that system that we saw push through early on this morning, bringing some rain, even the risk of some thunderstorm activity. That pushes out, and behind it, lots of high pressure, beautiful sunshine on the way. And your Tuesday and your Wednesday, if you wanted to get out to watch any of the many FIFA games, because we have a game in the city tomorrow, busy, busy, busy on Wednesday as well with games in Canada playing. Great weather to watch any of those games. Again, as we head throughout the bulk of our day, a few spotty showers north of the city, but nothing super organized. That clears out, and we have a beautiful evening ahead of us. Heading into your Tuesday, I know a lot of kids wrapping up the school year. Lots of sunshine if you're still writing exams. A beautiful forecast for that, or for watching any kind of football or soccer. As we head throughout the day on Tuesday, quite nice, and that continues into your Wednesday. So if you do have outdoor plans, camp, patios, watch parties, it won't matter, the weather's going to be great. But we are watching another system late in the day Wednesday that really rolls in and settles in overnight. That will bring us some rain and the risk of thunderstorms on your Thursday. Temperature-wise, we're just shy of where we should be today, and then we get there just in time for the day tomorrow, and we're holding on at about 25 for your daytime high Tuesday and Wednesday. Getting into Thursday, again, that shower activity rolls in overnight. It cools things down just a little for your Thursday with rain and the risk of thunderstorms on and off throughout the day. It's just a one-day special when it comes to the rain, and the sunshine returns just in time for your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, with Sunday being the warmest day of the week. And you factor in the humidex feeling closer to probably the low 30s, so no Sunday scaries when it comes to your forecast. But overall today, tomorrow, Wednesday, lots going on in the city. When it comes to activities and watch parties, you really can't go wrong with the forecast. Hopefully this helps you plan. Nathan, I'll send it back to you.
Indeed it does. Thank you, Jess.
Thanks.
The Blue Jays are set to begin a 3-game series with the Houston Astros tonight after an unexpected day off yesterday.
And this one is high in the air to left. Happ is going back. It is gone!
The Jays last played Saturday when they beat the Chicago Cubs 8-6. Yesterday's series finale against the Cubs was postponed because of rain in Chicago. It's been rescheduled for August 6th. Dylan Cease, who was scheduled to start yesterday, will take the ball for the Jays tonight. Game time is 7 o'clock at Rogers Center.
The Tempo will wrap up a 3-game road trip as they face the Atlanta Dream tonight.
From deep once more. All right, Marina Mabry.
The team beat the Connecticut Sun Friday 101-97. Marina Mabry scored 37 points in the victory, sinking 9 three-pointers. Tip-off for tonight's game against the Dream set for 7:30 in Atlanta.
Still to come, the Canada arm attached to the International Space Station has malfunctioned. We'll have more on what it means for this famous piece of Canadian technology when we come back.
iconic contribution to the International Space Station has malfunctioned, but help is on the way.
For more, we're joined by CTV science and tech specialist Dan Riskin. So, Dan, Canadarm2 has stopped working. It's injured. What happened?
The wrist. Canadarm2's wrist. It's getting older. I mean, it's been up there for 25 years. It was only supposed to last 15, so it can be forgiven. And this is a problem that engineers speculated might come up, and so they've already got the spare part on board. It's just that a spacewalk is required in order to make this repair. So things stopped working on the 27th of May. The spacewalk is scheduled for June 30th. So if all goes according to plan, it's going to be working again in time for Canada Day. Good. So that'll be good.
Perfect timing. Dan, we want to talk, the next story is about something that some folks can relate to, this unwritten rule that if you go out to eat with a friend, maybe they pick up the tab, then you would do it next time, but apparently there's a different set of rules altogether.
These rules that I thought those were the rules too. But they did a big survey of 600 Americans, and they asked them all these different questions. Well, what if it's this person and that person? Who would you expect to pay if this had happened and that happened? What if they went for the meal before and this person paid? And what emerged was a different story. It is expected that it'll be tit for tat if you're of equal standing in terms of your power dynamic. But if there's a person who has more power in the relationship than the other person, like a boss and an underling, or an uncle and a nephew, or whatever, then the expectation is whoever paid last time pays again. It's a precedent. And that is the way it works when the two of you go for a meal together. And so I took this as very interesting, because now it means if I go for lunch with a friend and there's a power dynamic and I pick up the tab, they might expect me to pick up the tab every time. So I got to be, I guess you got to be careful about that first one.
Always pay. It just never changes, right?
Well, with kids you always pay, right? That's always going to be there. And my dad still pays when we go out. You know, yeah. So I mean, it goes like that. But it is interesting that there's this power dynamic that plays into it, because I mean, there is the power move of who pays sometimes, and I hadn't really thought about how that connects, but apparently it does.
All right, makes sense. Finally, a study about learning a new instrument in your 70s can help your memory.
Yeah, this is a neat study out of Japan where there was a seniors group of about 30 people or so, and they learned a musical instrument where it's like a keyboard and you blow into a straw and it puts air through it. And they learned this instrument, and about half of them kind of lost interest and moved on to other things, and half of them stuck with it. And then they did a big cognitive test of these adults before they started the music and after. And what they found is the people that stuck with the music showed better cognitive performance on basically, like, try to remember this string of numbers, or try to remember which cards you saw in this hand, or remember this chessboard, whatever it is. Their memory was improved. And so they did some brain scans and found that, lo and behold, you could measurable differences in gray matter. So there wasn't a different group that already played musical instruments to compare them to, but listen, if you're looking for something to do, and learning a new musical instrument in your 70s, or probably at any age, is just good for the brain, and sticking with it.
That makes sense.
We should all pick up a musical instrument.
Why not?
What would you do in your 70s? Is there one you've always wanted?
I think in my 70s, as I start to lose my hearing, I would get like bagpipes or an accordion or something.
Oh,
just to make sure I can hear it, and for the enjoyment of everybody around me.
Sure. Dan, thanks so much. I just want to get back into piano, and that's my retirement plan.
Okay.
Yeah, why not? Just get a little better at it.
Tickle the ivories.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Nathan?
Very nice. Bass guitar.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm not going to do it, but if I did, that's what I would do.
I love it.
I like that. I can see that. That works.
All right, CTV science and tech expert Dan Riskin, thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Well, still to come, the Cannabis Council of Canada is suspending its operations. We'll have more on the decision when we come back.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Healthcare workers in Newfoundland and Labrador are expressing their anger after they thought they had received an extra paid day off.
They later learned the offer was fake and was actually part of a cybersecurity test from their employer. CTV's Garrett Berry has the details.
Works continue through a difficult period of change.
What is most upsetting to union leaders about this phony email is not the fake promise of a paid day off, but the pretend acknowledgement of the hard efforts of healthcare workers.
One young woman responded and said, "I'm a single mom. I thought my employer finally got what I was going through."
It was a cheap shot at our members, at employees. That's what it was.
The so-called June holiday wasn't a real offer. It was a phishing test sent to thousands of healthcare workers across the province by someone with Newfoundland and Labrador Health Services. The Health Board says they are investigating whether their own employee or contractor, Ernst & Young, wrote and sent the email.
So really, this missed a mark is not reflective of Newfoundland and Labrador Health Services. It's not reflective of how we value our employees.
The frustration inside this hospital is pretty high right now because the province's health authority has just rolled out a brand new back-end health information system, Core Care. Union leaders in this province say the transition to that new software has been extremely difficult.
All of that stress, all of that mandatory overtime, and to then try to hook staff with the promise of a day off, it was actually insulting.
Cybersecurity exercises are in the spotlight in this province ever since a cyber attack in 2021 took out healthcare systems for weeks. This email was trying to train employees not to click on suspicious links, but the tone and the message could just be the last straw for many healthcare workers, said NAPE President Jerry Earle. He says he's already heard from one specialist planning to now retire after receiving this message. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
A national cannabis lobby group is suspending operations, citing challenges tied to the unregulated cannabis market. The Cannabis Council of Canada says the decision reflects the challenges facing the industry. It says there is an active illegal marijuana trade, which is putting a strain on both producers and processors. The council's president says the main reason most legal businesses in the sector are not profitable is because illicit producers are eating up market share and driving down prices.
The latest film in the Toy Story franchise topped the weekend box office.
Bonnie needs help from someone at least from the same century. So long, toys.
Toy Story 5 brought in $160 million U.S. across North America, which is the biggest opening weekend for any movie this year. Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day fell to second with $17 million in ticket sales, and horror film Obsession placed third, bringing in $14.2 million.
Coming up, it's never too late to find love. We'll have more on a couple in their 80s who recently tied the knot when we return.
An Ottawa couple is proving it's never too late to find love.
The pair tied the knot in their 80s. CTV's Camille Wilson has their story.
I just love him.
David Brush and Maureen Coyne tying the knot at their senior living home.
We fell for each other. Yeah, we love each other a lot.
It all started at the dinner table just about 2 years ago at Crystal View Lodge Retirement Living.
We have been sitting at the same table for that length of time. We got to know each other over that length of time, and knowledge became love.
And it feels like young love.
I'm not 84, I'm 24.
I'm not 81, I'm 21.
The two, previously married, never thought another marriage was in their cards.
My wife died a few years ago, a long and happy marriage. I wasn't expecting to fall in love again, but it happened.
My husband died 4 years ago, and I said, never again. I know there's never going to be another man in my life, but there was.
That kind of blends in with what we offer here. This is not just a retirement home. Here you come in, you live a lifestyle, maybe you meet your old friends, maybe you meet your next life partner.
Announcing their vows to one another in the community chapel.
We're extremely happy.
Celebrating with family, friends, and their senior living community.
And we feel blessed by God. This is my husband.
Although Maureen says she was nervous for the day.
It feels wonderful. It feels like it's always been there.
David and Maureen as husband and wife.
They say it's never too late, and they're now looking to the future.
One never knows. Just one thing we do know, happiness. Hopefully we get, maybe even 10 years. Who knows?
It's possible.
Camille Wilson, CTV News.
Never too late.
Never too late. Congratulations to them. And maybe grab your loved one to stay warm. It's cold out there.
It feels so cold in comparison to how warm it's been over the past few days. So we're still in the 20s, but I grabbed a jacket this morning, I'll be perfectly honest with you, but I am delicate when it comes to the weather. If you're heading outside to any watch parties today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and there are plenty to go around, temperature-wise, it's a little warmer getting into the day tomorrow. We saw that system push through early on this morning, bringing our temperatures down. We do rebound quite nicely into the afternoon. We'll see a mix of sun and cloud. We just don't quite get to that seasonal point. We're sitting right now at 18 here in the city, 19 in Windsor. We're looking at 17 in Niagara and 21 out in Ottawa. So still comfortable, yes, but seasonal, no. We officially began the summer season yesterday, the astronomical start of summer on June 21st. So we are in the summer officially now, but we're not quite in that summer type of weather until we get into the day tomorrow. So again, just shy of seasonal, right on the money for your Tuesday and your Wednesday. If you're spending time outside, we have a very high UV index at an 8 tomorrow and Wednesday. So sun protection, hydration with water, very, very important. More rain on the way for Thursday, but you know what? It won't rain on my parade because I'm looking at the forecast for Tuesday and Wednesday and planning on spending as much time outside as possible. Michelle, Nathan.
I love that. Thanks, Jess. And that's it for CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Jessica Smith and the whole team here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a great day.